Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Gilda Hilaire, and I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager over at Salesforce. So as marketers, it's important to understand how to design eye-catching emails that shape your brand's message. Today, we have Ann Tomlin, who is the founder of Email Yaws. Love that name. She is here to teach you techniques that require minimal effort but producing eye-catching elements. So I'm really excited to have Ann here today to share all these great tidbits. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the questions chat window in your GoToWebinar control panel. We will try to address these during the presentation and at the end. We will also send a recording to the webinar along with the presentation in the follow-up email going out tomorrow. So please be on the lookout for that. Now, without further ado, we will get started. I will turn the time over to Ann.
Thanks.
And take it away.
Thanks a lot. So, everybody, welcome to 5 Easy Ways to Zhuzh up a Salesforce Marketing Cloud basic template. I'm Ann Tomlin. I'm a freelance email developer, and I have about 11 or so years of experience coding email. So I founded Emails Y'all in October of 2017. Emails Y'all is my business. So it's been 3 years since I've been, doing coding email by myself. So, but yeah, I have clients that include Famous Footwear, Chipotle, Fracture, etc. So I'm very active in the Email Geek community. So you can find me on the Email Geek Slack channel or Twitter at Pompey79 or Emails Y'all. So let's talk about what we're going to cover. We'll be talking about how to scale a Retina image in Outlook, how to change your font in Outlook, how to vertically align columns, how to add a custom font, and how to add hover effects. So keep in mind that these techniques are for your use in Content Builder, not Classic or Lightning. So why should you want to learn these techniques? First, lots of brands use the same template. You can see that there are 3 examples here from 3 different brands, 3 different industries, but they're using the same template. There's an image on the right and a headline, text, and button on the left. That takes me to my next point. There are limited branding opportunities and few ways to distinguish your brand from others when you use a template. The difference here is the differences here are serif versus sans serif font size, and button color. The small techniques that you're going to learn here will help set your email apart. If you look like everyone else, small things can be distinguishing. So continuing on here, so the code of your templates might be outdated. When did you create the template you're using now? Email changes very fast. One study showed a change every 2 days in a 3-month period, and that study took only 4 email clients into account. Worse, no one tells us. An email that worked fine yesterday might not render correctly today. So your code also may not have fixes for known issues. All this talk about code brings me to another point. Yes, you will be coding. The things you will learn in this webinar require you to go into the code of your emails, but you're only changing small things or adding code. So if you're nervous, don't be. Everything in this first webinar is very easy. So there's a specific way that you're going to apply these changes in Salesforce. The Salesforce ready-to-use template is locked and can't be edited. So to do these tricks, you need to be able to add and change the code. So the first thing you're going to do is create a new template. And you'll create that template from an existing template. You can choose any of these templates. There are places to get templates, but they can be expensive and you don't know who coded them, you don't know how old the code is or when they were last tested. But when you use a Salesforce template, you know it's been tested thoroughly in most email clients, most major email clients. I'm not sure when they were created, but they must have been retested in 2019 or 2020 because their testing chart has dark mode in it, and that became very commonplace in 2019. You can see that the desktop Outlook email clients have a grade of B, and I'm betting that the reason for that B is our first topic: solving the Outlook scale to fit Retina image issue. When we talk about Retina images, we're talking about pixel density. Retina images have 2 times the amount of pixels than non-Retina images, making them look crisper. These images are from 2 different Las Vegas hotels. The one on the top is a basic image that's slightly blurry, and the one below is a Retina image. So which pool looks better? If you got these emails, you're likely to choose the one with the Retina image because it's so clear you can almost see yourself there. If you don't know how to make a Retina image, here's a very quick summary. So making a Retina image, very simple. You create the image and then save it at twice the size that the image will appear in the email. So let's say that you have an email that's 600 pixels wide and it needs a full width image. You'd save your image at 1200 pixels. When you put that image into the email, it displays at 600 pixels. It will have 2 pixels for every 1 pixel of a regular image, resulting in a much clearer image. That's great, but we have to think about the weight of images as well. We need to worry about the weight of images because they must be downloaded in order to be seen in the email. And a heavy image probably won't be an issue on a desktop, but if you're on mobile, you're using your subscribers' data. So getting back to these images, the Retina picture is 200 kilobytes more than the non-Retina photo. You can mitigate this weight by compressing your images with tools like tinypng or compressor.io. I ran the image, the Retina image, through a compressor and was able to decrease the file size by more than 50%. Fortunately, compressing a Retina image with a tool like this does not take away from the quality of the image. So what does this have to do with Salesforce? Scale to fit is Salesforce's solution for making Retina images work in templates. It also helps scale down the image when the screen size is changing. It changes the width of the image to 100% and the height to auto, which works great in most email clients. But if you've ever read the Salesforce documentation, you'll see this warning. Scale to fit is not supported in Outlook. So what does that mean for your emails? It means that your images are going to display way too big in most desktop versions of Outlook. On the left is what my email looks like in most major email clients on desktop. On the right is Outlook. If your audience has no Outlook users, you can totally get away with this. But especially when you have B2B recipients, it's very important to address it. So why is Outlook being mean to us? It's because Microsoft, in its infinite wisdom, decided to use a word rendering engine to deal with HTML. Why is a word processing engine doing the work of a web browser? I have no idea, but we have to deal with it. So this is the code of an image. You see that the width is at 100% and the height is at auto. It's inside a table container that is 100%. Any browser's rendering engine should interpret this so that the image would span the entire width of its container, but not Outlook. If you're a word processing engine, of course you'd assume that the sender wants the image at 100% of its intrinsic width. But lucky for us, Outlook only cares about the width equals 100, not about the styles in the style tag. So that means that we're able to tell Outlook one width and provide a completely different other value for the other email clients. So what we're going to do is change the width equals 100 to the width of the container just for Outlook. We'll leave the width 100 for everyone else, but we'll also add in a max width. Max width says that the image can't be larger than whatever value you've given it. We'll never want the image to be bigger than it is on desktop, so it's an insurance policy for scaling. Outlook doesn't ever scale, so this totally works. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys what this looks like in actual Salesforce. So I've gone ahead and made a template here. All right. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go over here to this section and we want to deal with this hero. So we'll click into it, click into the image itself, and go ahead and go to the HTML editor. And here is the image. Looks like I completely forgot to undo this change when I was practicing. So normally this would be 100%. And so you would change that to 560. And you'd leave this width 100 and you would add this max width 650. All right, so then you would click on done editing. And actually, let's go in here and see if I can show you on this image. Nope, that's from practicing too. Okay, so let's move on and see what this looks like when it's rendering. So this is the email that I sent to myself. It's a test message sent directly from Salesforce. All right, and I'm using Litmus here to go ahead and create these renderings so you can see what they look like. And you can see the Outlook here is displaying everything correctly. So we've got the banner here at 560, and these two images down here that would be 270 each are displaying at the correct width. So and you can see that it's everywhere in all Outlooks, even the dark mode. All right, so that is the scale to fit. All right, so next thing we're going to talk about is changing the font in Outlook. So how many people have had Outlook change their font to Times New Roman when you never even chose it? Of course you have. So why does Outlook always change your font to Times New Roman? It's because Times New Roman is the default font for Outlook. If you never specify a font, Outlook will always render it as Times New Roman. If you only set the font once at the top of your email, Outlook will ignore it. If you don't specify a font for the container around a piece of text, it will just assume that you want the default. So what can you do? You put in what's called the Outlook font fix. This fix is currently in all Salesforce templates, but I'm going over it here so for those who may be using older templates, and it becomes really important in our next topic. This is the Outlook font fix. You're getting kind of a peek here into the word rendering engine, because that very top says if MSO, that refers to Microsoft Office. This piece of code is telling every container, specifically like the body, the table, the TD is a table cell. It's telling that in the email to use Arial. Like I said, Outlook wants you to specify a font for every container that has text. Most Salesforce emails only use TDs to hold text, so this piece of code is totally sufficient. So does it change every piece of text for Outlook? Yes, unless you put another container in between the TD and the text. So Salesforce allows you to specify a font in the visual editor by highlighting the text and assigning a new font. In that code, the text is now surrounded by a span tag, which is another container. This new container is right next to the text, so everybody, including Outlook, assumes you want that text to be the newly specified font. So let's look at this in real life. All right, I'm going to go back here. And once again, I have a pre-made template here for y'all. And all right, so what you're looking for here is to go, all right. So you are going to input the Outlook font fix, and you're going to put it down here after this closing style tag. Okay, actually, sorry guys, technical difficulties. Okay, here we go. All right. So, all right, so we've got the, you want to go up to the code view. So what I showed you before was, what I was working with before was actually a email that I made from a template, this template that I'm showing you right now. So that's why you saw the little lock, that it was locked. So you need to be able to, for you to be able to use this Outlook font fix, you need to be able to put in new code. And that's why we're here in the actual template, and we're going to go to code view. All right. So this is the beginning of the template. And like I said, you want to go here to the very end of the head, what's called the head. It's right here. This is the closing tag for the head. So, and then you want to go ahead and paste the Outlook font fix right here. All right, so then we're going to save it. And just like before, I already have an example. So first, I want to show y'all what this would look like without the font fix. So we can see that it's not here. So we're going to go ahead and render, and let's see, look at Outlook here. You've got Times New Roman as the on the text. So this you have these headers here that highlighted them and gave them a different font. So that's why they are rendering in a sans serif font. Okay, so that's what this would look like. But watch what happens when I put in the font fix. Give it a moment to render. Okay. See, and now we've got beautiful sans serif Arial text right here, right there, right there. So you can see that that is totally working. All right, let's get back to the slides. So that was the Outlook font fix, and that becomes very important in this next topic. So this one is adding a custom font. So these are examples of web-safe fonts. You've seen these everywhere. A web-safe font is one that's been installed on every computer. So you can use these fonts with certainty that your email will look the way that you intended. Web-safe fonts are the only fonts that work in Outlook. By contrast, there are web fonts, also called custom fonts. Web fonts are not widely supported, but where they do work, they keep your emails on brand and help you stand out. Using web fonts is an example of progressive enhancement, which is implementing a feature that might not work everywhere, but it's worth it to do for those who can see it. Most brands' fonts are custom fonts. To use them, they must be hosted on a server somewhere. There's plenty of different file types out there for fonts, but WAF is the most compatible and necessary. WAF 2 is not the same as WAF. The most common file types that I see are WAF, WAF 2, and TrueType. So you can find great custom fonts at Google Fonts. They have instructions on how to implement, and there are hundreds of fonts to choose from. There's one caveat though. The only Google fonts that work in Gmail are Open Sans and Roboto. No, I am not joking. That is real. So there are 3 ways to implement custom fonts, but Google Fonts only provides 2 of them. So we're going to use the Google Fonts since we're going to use Google Fonts in this demonstration, we'll use the best of those 2. So let's say you've gone to Google Fonts and found the font you want. Now you need to choose the font weights that you need. You always want to select 400 since that's the regular weight. You probably also want to choose 700, which is the bold version of text. You do not want to select too many weights, just the ones you need, because loading fonts uses data. So Google Fonts will tell you when the weight starts to be a problem. There'll be like a yellow or a red, type of alert. So Google gives you 2 options to implement, and you want to use link instead of import if you can. As an aside, if you are using your own brand font on your own server, you can also use this link method if you have an external style sheet that has all font-based declarations. But don't rely on any CSS that might also be in that file, because emails require the styles to be inlined. So to implement a web font, you take the provided link and put it in the head of the email at the very top. You then have to put, in this case, Roboto in front of all font declarations that you want changed. So you have to go into the code, search for the font that you're using, usually like Arial, and then enter Roboto or whatever your font name is before it. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so back here in Salesforce, we're going to edit it. This is a template, of course. All right, so what we want to do is go to this code view again, because that's how we can add content to the top of the email. All right, so what you want to do in this circumstance is we got the link from Google Fonts, and we want to put that right here. So right before the style tag declaration here. So we're going to put that in there. All right, so now we have at least told our email, hey, we'd like to use some web fonts, please. So what we're going to do is we will have to go down here to these containers. So what these containers are where all of your, it's like this right here on the screen. It's what's highlighted. It's kind of like a container for your content. So what you want to do is add in style equals, and then font family. And then we put in rubato, and that has to be in single quotes. So remember to do that too. And serif. All right, so we've got this style, and you want to put it on each of these divs. All right, so that takes care of the body text, but we want to do, we want to make sure that our headlines are also in rubato. So we click into here, into the text. All right, and we want to go up to this HTML editor. And you're going to see here that this H1, meaning header 1, it's already got a font family declaration here. So it's got font family, Arial, Helvetica, etc. So this is what you're normally going to have to deal with. And what you do in this circumstance is type in rubato with those single quotes and a comma after it. So that will change the font for the header. All right, so we also want to do this in the button as well. So we're going to find, here is the, sorry. All right, here's the button. We got this A tag, which is like an anchor tag for links. So we got to find, here it is, font family, Arial, Helvetica, etc. So we want to also put in rubato. All right, so then we'd be done editing. All right, so let's assume that we've saved this and sent out a test message. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so we can see actually already on this screen that its rubato has taken hold, but we need to check out places where it's the email clients where web fonts work. Excuse me. Okay, so this is Apple Mail. This is one of the ones where custom fonts actually works. So you can see here that we've got the headline and the text and the button in rubato. And I went ahead and did this for all of the text and headlines. So you can see that in Apple Mail. Okay, let's take a look at an iPhone. You can see that it's here as well. We've got rubato on all of the text. All right, so the one other thing that you want to be absolutely sure to do is, you remember where we went and put in the Outlook font fix? So that you absolutely have to have the Outlook font fix when using custom fonts. So what you want to do here is, you see this font family, Arial, Helvetica, sans serif? You gotta put in this important. It's exclamation point and then important. What that does is it tells Outlook basically, yeah, don't worry about any other fonts, only worry about Arial. And that's it, we only want Arial. So that is very important, because if you don't put that important there, you'll get Times New Roman. All right, so let's go to the next topic, which is vertically aligning columns. Salesforce templates always align your columns to the top, even though the default for vertical align code is middle. Sometimes your design calls for columns to be aligned a little differently. This is 3 examples of vertical alignment. On the left, the small picture and the copy are aligned at the top. In the middle, the block of text is aligned with the middle of the image. And on the right, the air purifiers are vertically aligned at the bottom. So that's these right here. These right here. Those are all separate images, and they are aligned at the bottom. So what do you think that would look like if they were aligned top? That would look very off. So vertical alignment is going to be the easiest thing that we learn in this webinar, but it totally changes the feel of the email. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the code of the columns and look for v-align top. When you see that, you will add a class to the container that holds that. Fortunately, Salesforce already provides us a class, and that's responsive-td on the container, so we can already use that. Next, you'll go into the head of the email inside the very first style tag and add the class and the style declaration, vertical align, and then a colon and whatever the value is. So you must put a period before the class name for this style to be understood when it's rendering. So let's check this out in real life. Okay. All right, let's go to column alignment. Edit that. All right, so what you see is this email that we've been dealing with. I've removed the text and button from here so we can practice on our alignment here in this. So you can see that both of these are aligned at the top. So if we wanted them to be aligned in the middle, this is what we're going to do. So you want to go up to this code view again, because we're going to be dealing with the head of the email. All right, and then you want to go down here to show full HTML. You want that to be on. All right, so what happens when you do that though is that you've got it locked, which is totally fine for right now. So what we're going to do is go down to where this section is. All right, that should be right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is look for that v-align equals top, which is right here. So this already has a class, like we said, responsive TD, so we can use that one. All right, we'll take out the show full HTML, and now we're able to put in some styles. So what we want to do is put this at the bottom of the first style, or right before the end of the first style tag. So we're going to put a period and then the class name, and then you will put in vertical align middle or bottom if you wanted to. All right. Excuse me. All right, so there we go. And you can actually already see that it's gone ahead and made these middle aligned. So that looks great now. So let's say we save that, we sent a test message, and this is how it will render. give it a minute here. All right, got some previews. All right. All right, so you can see here that we've got those aligned middle for most major email clients. So I have the other ones selected, but for some reason they are not rendering. But I can assure you that the alignment works everywhere, even in Outlook. All right, so, oh, actually, here we go. All right, so we can see here, it's aligned middle, yay. Okay, and now let's go down to like AOL. This got like compressed, but it is aligned middle because you can see that there's space above here and for the button as well. So, all right. So that is how to middle align your columns. All right, so let's move on to the hover effects. A hover effect is when something changes when you put your cursor over an element in the email. The cool thing about hover effects is it's the easiest way to make your email interactive. Hover states work in AOL, Apple Mail, Yahoo Mail, and Gmail. So you can use hover effects to like surprise and delight your subscribers, and that really sets you apart from the competition. And speaking of competition, let's look at this current events sample. All right, these are Trump and Biden emails. Both are designed very similarly. They've got a logo, 2 blue underlined links, buttons for donating specific amounts, and a big red button at the bottom. Now, I'm not saying that an undecided voter would be swayed by an email, but I will point out that the buttons on Biden's email have hover effects. So let's check that out. All right, so this is the Biden email, and ooh, look at how nice and pretty that looks. That's interactive email for you. So let's learn how to make this. All right, so you can use hover effects to do a lot of things. Oh, you know what? There we go. All right, so you can use hover effects to do a lot of things, but I am going to teach you here how to modify the buttons and links. To put in hover effects, we use what's called a pseudo class. That's denoted by a colon and the word hover. So for buttons, Salesforce already provides a class to target all the buttons. So that class is called button block. If you only want to target one button, you have to add another class. So next, you'll add the styles to the head, and just like we did with the vertical alignment. But this time, we'll use background color and border color. You'll need to use an important, like we talked about, to override any inline styles. Again, important is extremely powerful, so be very careful when using it. Similarly, let's talk about hover effects on a link. You can target all links with just an A for the anchor tag for the link. Anchor tag equals link. So that can be super useful. But if you want to target just one link and a class, you have to add a class. After you add that class, you'll again put its hover styles in the head. This time we're changing just the text color and underlining it. So let's see what that looks like. All right. So we want to go hover effects. There we go. All right. So what we'll do here is, all right, so we've got you want to go into the code view. Actually, let me show you here on the button, since we're going to deal with the button first. All right, we've got the button block link right here. So that's how we're going to target the buttons. All of the buttons have this class. So if you do this for one button, you'll do it for all if you're using this particular class. Okay, so you'll go up to the code view where we put in the styles. Okay, and what we're going to do is, again, at the, oh, it looks like it's already in here. All right, so yeah, we want to put, at the end, where the end of the first style tag, you want to put in button block, and then put in a for the anchor tag, and hover. So what that's going to do is it's going to change the background color to pink. And we've got the important here. So let's also add border color pink. All right, so, and we put the important on there. So what does that look like? It should, well, I guess we'll see in a minute. All right, so what we do next, oops, excuse me, is we're going to do the, we're going to put in the hover styles for this text link right here. So just like that, what we're going to do is go into, excuse me, we want to go into this button, into the HTML editor for the button, and, oh, excuse me, we're talking about the link. Okay, go into, there we go, and we wanted to go to the HTML editor with the link in it. And what we're going to add, here's the link, and we're going to add this hover class. I just made up that name. You can use any name, but as long as it says class equals, and then double quotes and whatever class name you want to use, that's fine. So we put that class in there. So that's the way to target just this particular link. Okay, so after you've put in that class, you want to go back up to the code view and put in this right here. So we've got the period button class, and we've got a hover on that. So we're going to change the color to pink, and the text, we're going to add a text decoration of underline. And we've got to put those importance in to make this work. Okay, so let's say that we've gone ahead and saved this, sent a test message, and now I will show you what this looks like IRL. All right, so watch what we're going to do here. Go over the register. Hey, look, it's now orange. I know we specified pink, but I put orange here. Yeah, so you can see we've put our mouse over that. It's got an orange background and it's got an orange border. So that way it all looks like one button together that you can click anywhere. All right, same sort of thing with this link here. You can hover over it and it turns orange and underlines. So that's just a nice little thing, a little extra zhuzh to yeah, to surprise and delight. All right, oops. Go back here. All right, so let's wrap up. All right, so we talked about fixes for known Salesforce template issues, like the Outlook scale to fit and the vertical alignment on columns. We also learned how to add a custom font, in this case, the Google font, and that they're not supported everywhere, but it's nice to do it for those people who can see it. You also want to remember to put that important on the Outlook font fix to make sure that your text does not turn to Times New Roman when you're using a custom font. All right, and we also talked about hover effects and how they're interactive email and they make a great statement. So you can find these slides available at my website at emailsyall.com/5easyways. Okay. So next time, in exactly a week, next week on Wednesday, we'll get into more difficult code tricks that you can do with a Salesforce basic template. We're going to learn about how to make your email accessible, which is very important for those who don't interact with your email in the traditional manner, but we all benefit from those accessible changes. You'll learn how to swap images for mobile, and then some button tricks like making them full width in mobile and how to make rounded buttons in Outlook. Yes, it is possible. So make sure to register your spot. And that's it for me. So thank you for attending, and I'd be glad to take any questions.
And that was awesome. I learned a lot, and so did our audience. We've gotten so many comments about the session. And yes, we do have a couple of questions. I think we have time to go through some of them.
Okay.
So a couple of questions on the Hoover effect. A couple of folks want to know, does it do anything in mobile? And does it work in Outlook?
No, it doesn't work in Outlook. And it doesn't work in mobile in the sense that you can't hover with your finger. Like there's no way for the phone to know that your finger is right above a link or a button. So for all intents and purposes, no, it does not work in mobile.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Yeah, we had a lot of folks who were wondering about that. Next one, how do you make sure the vertical layout columns that aren't split 50-50 render correctly in Outlook? They said that they normally change a TD to TH for the whole table and add font weight normal, but it still puts the text in the center on the cell. Is there an easier way to fix this?
That's a lot. So that's one of the things that probably usually I would want to see the code for, but you can use vertical alignment with whatever. It doesn't have to be a 50-50. It can be 30-70. Like it doesn't matter which one. Can you repeat the last part of the question?
They normally change the TD to TH for the whole table and add font weight normal, but it still puts the text in the center of the cell. Is there an easier way to fix this? Okay.
The TH thing that was mentioned there, that kudos for knowing that. That's a yeah, that's a pretty advanced technique. So great for that. If you if you want the text to be vertically aligned, you also need to put in the vertical alignment for both columns, regardless of if they're the width of them. So that should solve the issue. And if we're talking about the text being center aligned, you just need to add a text align left or right, whatever you want to add.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer. How can we edit the head code if we are not using a template?
Oh, if you're not using a template, you should be able to go directly into your template, and it's probably you're using a paste HTML. So you'd wherever you pasted the original HTML, you want to go in there, and there should be a head at the top that you want to add your styles to.
Oh, that's
Did
some
I
great
get
tips
that
right
right?
there. Yeah.
Did I understand that right?
I think so, yeah. If not, we'll ask the person who asked the question to provide a little bit more detail behind
Yeah.
it.
And you can also, email me or, tweet at me.
Another really good question. In Outlook or mobile, they've noticed that oftentimes it takes a long time to load images. Their marketing emails are heavy on the image size and the Retina display. Is image compressing a thing in Photoshop?
You can use Photoshop to do that. It requires a little bit of manipulation when you save the image, you can change the quality, and bring the quality down until you reach, I think like 200 kilobytes is kind of pushing it. So I try to get it around 150. So you can bring down the quality until you hit that thing, that threshold, but you're also losing the quality. So what I would suggest doing in that circumstance is like bringing the quality down in Photoshop like 50%, and then using a compressor to do the rest of the heavy lifting.
Perfect. That's some great feedback there for that one. This might actually be part of next week's session, but I'll ask it anyway. If anybody else wants to ask the same thing, is it possible to show us litmus in Marketing Cloud? And are you able to edit the code and save it in Marketing Cloud?
So I do not have that set up, actually. That would be a question for Litmus. I know that they have a plugin that works within Marketing Cloud. You can have both of them connected, and you can push your code to Marketing Cloud. But for details, definitely look into Litmus and what they have to say. I don't want to give you wrong information.
Right. We'll have time for one or two more. This one I actually am curious about. I think I know the answer. I'm curious because I know a lot of marketers go through this. I get a lot of requests to compile emails from Microsoft Word. A lot of times when I copy and paste from Word to MC content template, I still end up doing a lot of tweaking, especially with images and fonts. Mm-hmm. Do you have any suggestions to make that transition easier, please?
So if you are directly copying from Outlook into a HTML document, if I'm understanding that correctly, mm-hmm. What I would suggest is actually doing a step in between those, because what you're dealing with is the formatting that Outlook has put on your content. So that's probably why it's kind of shown up weird in when you send your email from Marketing Cloud. So you want to somehow get rid of that that formatting. And the way that I do it, maybe it's not super efficient, but the way that I do it is I paste it into Notepad, and then from Notepad paste into Marketing Cloud, so that way there's no formatting left. So hopefully I understood that, or I understood what that question was asking. If not, please email me. I will be glad to answer that.
Yes, definitely reach out to Anne. Her contact information is there, but um, we will also be doing a part two next week on Wednesday. You can find the information to register on my Twitter account or LinkedIn. We'll also be providing a link for all upcoming sessions in tomorrow's follow-up email, along with the recording of this and with this awesome deck that Anne has shared with you today. There are a lot of questions around getting the snippets, and a lot of people are trying to write it down or take images. I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
We're gonna send this. We're gonna send this out. Don't worry.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So what we'll do, we're gonna wrap up. Again, please join us next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and we'll go through some of the questions, and the ones that we didn't get to, we will do our best to address them in next week's session. And thank you so very much. This was awesome. I learned a lot, and based on the feedback that I'm getting, a lot of people thought this was great, awesome, and they can't wait to tune in next week.
Awesome. I'm excited to get more into it next week as well.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.